So I'm not gonna say he.
Everyone, I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. Please remain standing after that for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Alderman at Large George Payne.
Heavenly Father, we come before you and we just want to thank you for being a God that we can come to with our problems. And Lord, that you care about each and every one of them. Lord, I ask you to be here in this meeting, Lord, and to guide our thoughts. And Lord, let our passions be for you. Heavenly Father, we also pray for the new school year that's about, Lord, that you would keep your hand over our schools and keep us safe. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for the July 19, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, a second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for surplus property in the Information Technology Department. Mr. Nick Manley, City Attorney.
Yeah, this resolution just surpluses the IT department equipment that's no longer needed under 172525.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, a second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution to adopt the DeSoto County tax assessment.
Recently the tax assessor completed the assessment of the real and personal property for DeSoto County in accordance with their statutes, which is 273581. So at this time, pursuant to our statutes under 21339 and 2735167, the city of Southaven needs to adopt their assessments for the city as well, based on their assessments for the county. That's what we've done every year. It's just this year we're going to actually put it in our minutes to reflect the minutes as part of the compliance checklist that we have for audit purposes. Obviously, the county is the one who does the assessments and the tax collection and assessments for all cities. So tonight, just need the authorization for the mayor to sign that resolution to adopt the DeSoto County tax assessment as presented by the DeSoto County Tax Assessor's Office.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion?
So Nick, we've never done this before, right?
Correct. We've always just operated it with their assessment.
Right.
So we've implicitly done it every year, but this would just have us actually put it in our minutes. So as part of the checklist for the municipal questionnaire, we can say that we did
It
actually.
is part of the municipal questionnaire?
Yes,
Okay.
Any other discussion?
and part of the statutes based off the fact that we rely on DeSoto County to do our assessment.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoot.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for a sole source provider in the Southaven Fire Department.
Yeah, as part of the construction for Fire Station Number 5, Southaven Fire Department has got the Plymouth system. Plymouth system provides the exhaust systems to protect the health, basically, of our firefighters in the fire station at Fire Station number 5. Sole source provider is EDI LLC, and it's an amount of $59,264. They have provided the sole source letter, and the resolution is attached as well as part of your package. So tonight, authorization for that purchase under sole source as allowed by 31.713.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution to clean private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution granting authority to clean private property as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion among the board? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that has an interest in the properties that would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. We got 3 items on the agenda tonight. The first one is a request for design review approval, and this is going to be for the Silo Social Restaurant. This is going to be on Lot 9 of Silo Square Commercial Subdivision. You'll see highlighted in red right there. This is going to be just south of the existing tequila restaurant. It is a bar and grill, and the site plan shows a large outdoor facility in the front which faces Getwell. Roll-up doors, kind of a garage-style door entrance where they can create an indoor-outdoor eatery area. No access off of Getwell Road. Does comply with the overall design that we've put together for Silo Square. It was voted unanimously in favor of, just as submitted.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that we approve item number 1 on the planning agenda as presented tonight.
Second.
We have a motion on item 1 by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? It's a good addition.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great.
It'll be a nice restaurant.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
And that motion carries on item 1.
Item number 2, we have a medical office requesting design review approval on Lot 8 of Golden Oaks Commercial Subdivision. This is going to be on the north side of Goodman Road, right there at Golden Oaks Loop, which you see highlighted there in the red. Small 2-tenant medical office. A kidney disease consultant is taking the primary space in it. The application shows a standard residential style brick building, which does comply with the PUD text for that overall subdivision. One contingency we did place on it was the removal of the wooden fence that they've got between the residential and the commercial, and to replace that with a masonry fence to comply with the ordinance. We had some landscaping adjustments and some photometric adjustments, which they did agree to, and with those stipulations, it was voted unanimously in favor of by the Planning Commission.
Mr. Mayor, making a motion to approve item number 2 on the planning agenda.
Second.
On item 2, we have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
The third application we have is a minor subdivision for 2 lots on Windy Lane. That's going to be west of Tullahoma. This will be on the south side of Windy Lane. It's highlighted there in red. It's 6.75 acres. There's an existing house and accessory building on the far west side. The applicant wants to separate that out to Lot 1, which will contain 2.85 acres. Lot 2 will have the remaining 3.94 acres. Right-of-way for Windy Lane is already in place. There's no improvements to be done, so it was voted unanimously in favor of as submitted.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve item number 3 on the planning agenda as presented tonight.
Second.
On item 3, I have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries.
And item number 4, if we could go back to that map, we are to the point now that we're prepared to formally go into the rezoning process for the medical marijuana district or the commercial medical. We've already revised the comprehensive plan. We've already amended the zoning ordinance to put the CM zone in. I believe everybody's had a chance to look at the map, but those are the boundary districts that my office has proposed to contain this use. You'll also have a copy of the letter, the template that we will be sending out if the board agrees to allow us to move forward with this. The plan is to get those letters out by certified mail so we can make sure everybody actually gains access to the letter and was notified properly. We will take it to the September Planning Commission hearing, which will be the last Monday of that month, and we plan to bring it in front of the Board of Aldermen the 3rd Tuesday of October. So if you have any questions or if there's anything I need to address or adjust, if you could just let us know so we could get that in motion.
Will this solidify the lines?
I'm sorry?
Will this solidify the lines?
Yes, unless you tell us to move them. Right now, this is the proposal we put together. We can adjust the lines as needed if there's a concern or if we want to exclude or include additional areas, but this is the proposed location. So if we send that map out, those will be the only property owners that we send notice to for rezoning.
Yeah, I'm probably the only one that actually wants to expand it, but I'll go ahead and say that now. I know it's the elephant in the room. I may be by myself, but
Where do you want to expand it?
I want to take that corner, Malco
What?
Boulevard over to Twin Oaks.
Whitney, what's the reason that we're not including Malco Bowl, the movie theater parcel?
Well, we've got a lot of retail over there, yes, but we also have a lot of loitering issues over there as well. What our plan was is to provide an area that is contained in a medical district, which you have around the hospital here. You have a lot of medical offices, a lot of medical supplies places, and you have a lot of vacant retail space on that side contained in that area. And then we took the additional area you have to the south where there was some open land to develop if somebody wanted to come in and invest in an actual dispensary on their own. The thought process behind these areas was one, to contain it not only to make sense from a medical commercial zoning standpoint, but also from a police standpoint. We want to have it contained where we know the boundaries and they can better patrol the areas. This is obviously a hypothetical map. I mean, we just put it together as a proposal. We didn't want to expand too much. The thing about the rezoning is once we get it in place, you can always rezone and expand further. It's almost a testing site since this is new for us. We think it's better to keep it in a controlled area. And if we see that it's not problematic or it's not bringing issues to the police or issues on zoning for us or traffic issues, then you can always expand beyond there. But we needed a starting point, and I feel like it's better to keep it contained and then expand as necessary because it's a lot harder to do it too big and then try to come back down. It's
Right.
a lot
you can
harder
always
to
expand, but once you
very hard to
once you
down
cast a
zone.
net, you
Exactly.
can't section it off.
Well, based on how the line's drawn right now, you're basically going to have probably one in a northern zone based on the 1,500-foot radius.
The way we looked, you can probably fit 4 in that total area right now.
It'll never happen because Baptist DeSoto is never going to sell any of their property.
That very well may be.
But that goes back to the point where this is new. We've never experienced this before. There are major concerns, and even since we initially talked about this back in, I guess it was early May, there are some strange things that have happened. There's a lot of unknowns with this. And again, it's my recommendation to the city. Y'all do what you want, but let's dip our toes in the water. Let's check it out. And I disagree. I mean, that's a large, and you may be right about the hospital. I'm not disagreeing with that. But as far as the 1,500 rule, that's a large amount of space right there. There's a lot. There's lots of options.
Not really. Not when you put 1,500 feet
Yeah,
on
there
it.
are. There are.
No.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
we've measured it. I think
We
you
didn't just
can-
draw, again, Mayor, Alderman, we didn't just draw this out of our hip pocket. I mean, this is something that had some thought process that went into it, with the current hospital and everything around there. And then also going south on Airways as well. So 1,500 feet, I'll just tell you that again, that's, like I said before, that's 1,500 feet's not far. There are, but
It's not.
anyway,
It's-
make a motion. If you want to change it, make a motion and we'll vote on it. But it can all be changed later. But my recommendation, again, there are a lot of scary things about this for the city of Southaven. And my recommendation is that we establish this zone, start small, and then expand it if we need to.
And I will say to your question about expanding that way, one of the things why you don't see very straight lines, why it has this kind of amoeba look, it's kind of meandering on the sides, we were trying to keep it away from residential properties. So even going to jump into the other side of Airways, when you get by Clarington and all that, you can take it to a place and a stopping point where behind that is not residential property. What we
Yes,
didn't want to
ma'am.
do
I know
is.
y'all doing a great job with that, because what I'm proposing is got, is nowhere close to being residential.
Well, and the thing that you may not know this or not, but for years, we've had major problems with loitering at the Malco. So if you, to answer your question, if you start taking that area in, you put a medical marijuana dispensary there, for on any weekend night, we fight the loitering there. We tried to, again, we don't know, this is new. We don't know,
Right.
it may not be a big issue later.
Exactly,
But
it
what
may
our
not be.
goal was to stay away from residential areas, to stay away from areas just like the law designed, like to stay away from kids, to stay away from the Malco.
Yeah,
Now,
we
that's-
specifically excluded that on purpose, and if we see that it's not a problem, like I said, the easy thing is to rezone and expand. It's much harder to downzone and decrease the size of the area.
Well, do we think there's a bigger problem with loitering at a dispensary versus a liquor store or CBD store? Because both of those in that area.
Don't know. Have you had
That's
any
the thing,
experience
we
with that?
don't know.
Would you know
And-
anybody that's
not a
had a
liquor
medical
store in
marijuana
Malco.
dispensary in Southaven, Mississippi
No, but
before?
there's right there,
Where?
right next to Huey's. I know there's a
It's,
CBD store.
again,
there.
it's not the same thing. We don't know. It's never been here. Again, I'm saying the same thing over again. We've never had a medical marijuana dispensary here, so we don't know. You may be right, but we don't know that.
Right, I just
And
think
all
it's
we're
better to
saying
be
is
cautious at
let's
this
be
point.
cautious and
Right.
but if you want to change it, make a motion and we'll vote on
I'll
it.
make that motion and
Okay.
move the line.
Is there a second?
Make the motions to move the line where?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Right there. That block. Over to Twin Oaks.
Take in the Malco.
I would be for
Are you
including
capturing
just
the
this
funeral
side,
home as
but
well,
not
the
whole
cemetery?
thing.
He's saying going all the way to
Hey,
Twin
I'll
Oaks.
compromise with that.
Well,
Like
clarify
Alderman
your,
Payne
make
said.
a motion and clarify it so we can vote on it. What's your motion?
I'll make the motion to, well, I mean,
Can we just ease into it?
no. I mean, you don't have to second it, that's fine.
No, that's the process, Alderman. You make a motion, if there's a second, we vote on it. That's how it works. So make a
That's
motion
what
and
I'm
tell us
asking
what your
right now.
motion
I'm
is.
making the motion to where the line is right now, where it goes to the west, right there above Malco. Go to the right, which is to the east, then come down along Twin Oaks, include that corner.
One of those houses?
So you will be abutting residential properties and taking the Malcos, what you clarifying you want.
Up to right there, behind the Malco?
Yeah, these houses right here.
Okay, then we go down to Malco Boulevard,
So like.
which is in front of the,
here?
yep.
Yeah, we're familiar with the map. You're taking in the Malco.
Well, let's go Malco Boulevard, which is, thanks Joe, I appreciate that. Well, it's also the one that runs east-west.
Over here.
My question is what do we take, if we do that, what do we take in that they can use?
You have one portion of half of the strip center.
Because right, you got the.
There's probably at least 2 buildings there.
So it can go beside Baskin Robbins,
I know, where's the Baskin Robbins?
right there on the corner.
Yeah, there's 2 buildings and there's the Whataburger.
Right there.
Well, you got the Old Regions Bank, which is on that corner.
So you really want to, what you really want to do is just taking that down to Airways so they could use like the old Regions Bank in that area.
Now, the Regions Bank, they have contacted us several times trying
The
to capture
Regions
that
Bank, there's, there are a group of large investors that have been reaching out to everybody that want to put that there. And again, if you cave in and start adjusting the lines because somebody with a lot of money has come to you, then we're going to have a hard time sticking to this. It's going to, it's going to snowball. But again, just clarify the motion. Let's vote on it. What's the motion?
I make the motion to include that block that is south of Malco Boulevard as it runs east-west, and west of Malco Boulevard as it runs north-south.
Okay, so you'll be taking in you'll be having exposure to the Malco and the kids, but, okay, is there a second?
And there's also a CBD store there that's exposed to the kids.
Right, there's a lot of difference. Do your homework. Do your homework.
Is there really?
Absolutely there is. Nick, would you explain to him the difference between CBD and marijuana?
I think it's to do with the THC level.
Of course it does. That's what the drug is. It's THC. So would you help him because he doesn't understand?
No, I do understand, Mayor.
No, you don't understand.
Mayor, I let you go one time being condescending to me. I will not let you go twice.
You're not going to talk to me like this in the meeting.
Why not? You talk
If
to
you
me
want to
like
make
that.
a motion, make a motion.
I made the motion.
Okay,
Mayor.
is there a second? Is there a second to Alderman Jerome's motion? Motion dies. All right, let's move on. Is that all on the planning agenda?
That's it.
Okay, do we need to vote to
I guess.
formally approve what you got?
Yes, I just need permission to move forward with the map and with the letter being sent out with the dates of September and October.
Okay. Is there a motion to do that?
This would be a motion to rezone, to begin the rezoning process is all you're doing tonight. You're not making a motion other than to do that. You're not actually rezoning anything, it's just
Right.
a motion to begin the rezoning process. For the commercial, medical, zone.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion from Alderman Payne, second from Alderman Gallagher. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have Miss Betty Newsom and LaCrystal Newsom that want to discuss an issue. Would you please come forward?
I'll come up with them and help explain it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We appreciate you all hearing us on this afternoon. I'm Betty. This is my daughter, LaCrystal Newsom. And I wanted to,
Miss Betty, will you pull that microphone up so we can hear you a little better?
You can even hold it in your hand if you need to.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I want to deed my baby a spot of land and build a house. And we have come to the knowledge of knowing us being said that the road is not feasible for the house to be built. But I've been there all my life. Address was Nesbitt. It when I was a little child. Then it got changed to Olive Branch, and now I'm in Southaven. And I have seen most of the land that's there were my family land that they sold and they moved to other states. I'm the only one there. I've seen other people come in and buy my family land and build homes. And when I get ready to give my daughter a spot to build her house, and we are presented with so many obstacles. So we are hearing that the road is not feasible, and we need sewer down through there. Look like every time I turn around, it's a problem for me. I've been there all of my life, from not being able to get natural gas. I mean, just every time I turn around, it's a situation. So we was hearing that the road is a drive. It don't a private drive. It don't belong to the city. And I pay city tax. And it's not a private drive, 'cause we never did anything to it. I'm the only one that called from time to time, years down through the years, to try to get someone to come out and fix the road. At that time, I was talking to somebody in the county, and then the city, I felt like the city took over because I was talking to somebody from the city. They came in there about 5 or 6 years ago, and they put a little trail in there. I was at work when they redid the road. They come in and they paved it, blacktop, everything. Before that, they came in and bought white rocks and spread it out. Now, when they did the white rock, it was wide enough for cars to come in and meet each other. But now they got to pull over. I didn't know what the feet would be when the lady told me, well, you on the agenda and we're gonna get you as soon as possible. When I come home, they had did the little, I call it a little Indian trail. That's what I call it. And it really wasn't nothing I could do about it. But right now, I'm reaching out for some help. Because as I'm understanding, it's gonna cost $1,000 to add a few feet to the road in order to get her house built. Now I got neighbors that have built house in the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know whether they had any problems or anybody said anything to them about the road, but they got their homes. And just like I say, I've been there all my life in three different cities in the same place. And every time I turn around, there is problem after problems, and it's making me sad. Cause I really wanted to do this before I leave this earth. I want to leave my baby a spot to build her a home, but we are having a whole lot of obstacles, and I'm just reaching out for some help.
So the way I understand the issue is, we know that Woods Lane is a narrow road. Actually, the city of Southaven did resurface that road probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
It hadn't been too long.
Yeah, so the issue is that it's difficult because the road is so narrow for emergency vehicles, especially a fire truck, to get in there to turn around. So that's the concern as far as not allowing other development in the area. Is that right, Whitney?
Correct. And I've been working with both these ladies, and I think we've got one part figured out where we've agreed to, even though they don't have the 2 acres necessary to subdivide an acre apiece in an agricultural zone, we're going to work with them with the 1.85 acres they have and give them that subdivision. The problem comes in with the building of a new house and then also the septic tank issue. So from our standpoint, when we saw that there was emergency service difficulties, and actually one of our trucks had to be towed out because of the situation with the road, we ceased any new development down there until we got the road repaired and widened appropriately to get 2-way access so that the emergency services could get there. And then from the DeSoto Health Department side, septic tanks, there's a sewer down there. So now septic tanks by law have to be on 1.5 acres a piece. So when she subdivides it, there's no accessibility to a septic tank or sewer for her daughter either. And unfortunately, I explained to him from the city's standpoint, the only thing we can address is the subdividing, which we can take care of in my office, but then it comes down to the road. And to my knowledge, and Fire Chief's here, Danny's here, it's still a big issue. And the more you try to aggravate a problem that's already aggravated in terms of getting accessibility down there. So that's when the halt came for the home. So we put them in touch with Civil Link, and they spoke with Civil Link about doing some improvements to the road, since allowing for future development would essentially make them the developers. The number came back high, $300,000, I believe is what we ended up with. So I said, the only option you've got is to talk to the other property owners and see if everybody wants to, bring in on this, because there's a lot of vacant properties still down there. Obviously that's not something they want to tackle. That's a large amount of money. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think what they're asking now is, does the city have any plans to do any improvements to where accessibility to fire and police and EMTs can get down in this area, which will also allow her daughter to build on the property, or if we have any plans to adjust it, or are they just sitting on property that's undeveloped? Basically.
How many homes are on Woods Lane?
So I counted 3 houses actually have addresses on Woods Lane. Built 1979, there's a 96 and a 98. 2 of the houses actually have College Road addresses. And then there is a portion that goes beyond the actual right-of-way, and it doglegs to the east and then shoots back down, and it's literally a gravel drive that's just a private drive. And there are 7 houses on that. That's not even a road, that's just essentially a long driveway. Ms. Newsom is actually on Woods Lane. She's the furthest south lot that we've got. So in total, there's 12 houses in this area.
Did you say there's 7 on a gravel driveway?
There's 7 on a long gravel driveway.
Not on what you talking about past Woods Lane?
On Woods Lane. So, and Dana, you can maybe attest to this. You had the truck get towed out of the actual gravel drive portion of it, correct?
We did. We were out in that area. Attempt to turn around. Got off the gravel.
Some.
We have no problem trying to get back there.
So how many, including the gravel area and the paved Woods Lane, how many homes are back there?
So without the 2 that face College Road, you'd have 10 total right now. several additional vacant pieces of property. And looking at most of them were built in the 80s, early 2000s. Even Miss Newsom's got hers in 79. Of course, the drive was there when we annexed. I mean, it went into play.
How many lots are there for I mean,
It's not-
hypothetically, how many more houses could you build in there?
You could get
You're
quite
talking
a
about
few.
you're talking about one, Miss Newsom. One.
I'm talking about one, but I don't know where she's counting the last two houses that was built there straight across from me. Are you counting those homes? There are two houses that's been built in the last 5 years that are straight across from me. Matter of fact, we can cross over into each other's drive. We're that close to each other. One gentleman's been there about 2.5 years. Another house been there about 5.5 years. Then I got a house on this side of me. They use the Wood Lane address. Now I don't know how it's listed. There's a big, nice brick house right in my side door, and there's another lady on down the drive from them that my daddy sold all these folks' property, and we all are fighting for sewer. We're fighting for natural gas, and we can't get anything. Everything that's gonna have to come out of our pockets. And I've been paying taxes. I don't know what they've been doing. I've been paying taxes ever since I've been there.
Yeah. No, and no one's disrespecting that. I think the issue is, again, is just a public safety thing about the fire, about the fire apparatus, trying to get it down there. And as Whitney said, if we allow more building, you're complicating the issue. But why don't we do this? Let's look at, so you're just talking about one house.
Yeah.
But I was waiting on Whitney to answer how many houses could possibly go back, in that area. Because it is a lot of vacant property in the area.
It is, and it just depends. That's low density, which means essentially you could do half-acre lots and up. I'd have to look at it and calculate it, but I'm thinking, if somebody tried to come at one point and put a subdivision back there, and I think they had 30 homes, it could get much larger, or it could be that the parcels that are there that never get subdivided just stay as large parcels. So it's a hypothetical question, but I would say 30. It could essentially become that, but that'd be a developer coming in and they would be required to build a road out. These are people that have owned the property forever that don't have the money of a developer, that aren't gonna turn $1 for selling a lot or selling a house to make that money to build the road. So I think that's where we kind of hit the wall with the requirements from my side and what a normal subdivision.
So you're saying if a new developer came in wanting to add 20 homes, they would be required to.
And this city is, and we've done that before. We've had people
Yes.
come in and we said, look, that's fine, but you're gonna have to build 24 feet of width of road, and you're gonna have to dedicate this. These are just people, minor subdivision that's just trying to give a daughter a piece of property. So it's definitely different, but from an ordinance standpoint, they don't separate the situations out.
Yeah, I think we understand the issue. Will you let us revisit that and talk about that a little bit? But we understand the issue. I get what you're trying to do. And so, did anybody else have any comments
so
about
said
it?
this was the southernmost lot. This is where Woods
This
Lane
is, yeah,
ends.
she'll be right where the right-of-way ends. She's not on the gravel drive, but after you get past her property, there's a drive that just extends right past her to this house, and then it just immediately heads to the east, and that's where that's not even right-of-way anymore. That's just a private drive. So she actually has access to the right-of-way. And so her daughter will take the southern portion of the lot, I believe, so she'll have access to the right-of-way as well.
So is it the whole street that has the issue of the emergency vehicles?
They have the whole, and they don't
Yes.
have a turnaround at the end of the street. It literally just steps out and dies. So
Yeah.
the trucks can't get around and turn around.
But
it
there's
goes
been
south.
new builds on the street over the past.
It was probably a parcel of land that didn't have to come through us because it wasn't a subdivision application. Unfortunately, that's why I said it comes into a subdivision ordinance regulation.
Because she's subdividing
She wants to
her.
subdivide her property. Those were old parcels that were there beforehand. That's the only thing I can pick. There's been two that I can tell has happened since we annexed it.
Yeah,
So we did.
County
Didn't we
before
just have
us.
one a year ago or so?
Ridiculous, We had a road that we had to redo or something?
Yes, we were actually still in the port room. I remember it vividly because we had Mr. Anglin stand up and ask if he could buy the property and he would do the road, and the gentleman didn't want to. But yes, it's something we've enforced on all the other ones. And like I said, it's not so much the leniency we can provide. When it comes to emergency services, that's where my hands are tied, and that's a decision that has to be made on emergency calls. And
What did we do over there? Did we put the
he
road
widened
in?
it. in that one.
So who owns the land that the road's on now?
There's the land that's where?
The road that they used to get back and forth to their house, is it on the right of way or is it?
This Woods Lane is a right of way. It is. So the private easement at some point in time turned into a dedicated right of way. It just was never built out like a city street. I mean, this is, the guidance for me is here. They wanted to come and speak to you guys, mainly to see if there's any way that the city could assist.
There's
in the
nowhere
road.
to turn around.
I think the second issue we're gonna have, which we won't have any control over, is getting the allowance of a septic tank on less than an acre and a half.
Sewer line.
And or sewer extension, and then Ray's here, he can maybe give some
How close
ideas
is
as
it-
to
how
if
close
there's
is
extension
that?
for sewer. I don't know.
Well, that's a different issue. I would just, if you will let us, I understand the issue. We need to look at this again, okay? If you will give us a day or so to look at this, and then you have their contact
We
information.
talk.
Okay, and then about,
I do have a question, so is Woods Lane considered a private drive?
No,
No, Woods
a right of
Lane-
way. It is an actual
Okay.
legal right of way.
But isn't it a certain point it turns into a private drive?
Yes, so when you get past your house, your lot, and then that driveway just extends into that house right beside you, once you start and head east, everything turning east and going back south is not city right of way.
and Woods Lane was built not to the standards of the city's roads. It was built before it was annexed by the city years ago. So that's why if it were in the city, it would be wider if it were in the, when it was constructed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what the issue, but go ahead, Alderman
No,
Flora.
so Ms. Newsom's property where she wants to build her house is right before it turns east and then heads back south,
Yes.
right?
Ray, would you come forward, please, sir? So would you update us on the water and sewer situation in the area?
As far as I know, they had water already. The sewer, I was really waiting until this got resolved. Because it is, gets upgraded to a major subdivision at some point. And at that point, then they would be, they'd be a little bit different situation. But
So to this point, there have been septic systems,
yes, sir.
septic tanks?
A few years ago, a guy, he was gonna come in and maybe build 50 houses in there,
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so that, they were gonna put everything in then, and then, they had plans coming all the way back out to to college, but, it's been kinda in limbo until, recently
Yeah.
with these new things here, so.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mayor, my sisters and brothers sold this gentleman that land, and he was gonna come in and put 35 houses in. And at that time, he was talking to us about the sewer and the gas and all that. And so at that time, I was sort of comfortable with it, but all of a sudden, looked like the deal fell through. I don't know
Okay.
what happened. But he come in and he cleaned everything off, and it was just nothing but land. Now everything has grown back up, so we don't know what happened with that. But we still trying to live, and we still got some problems.
Yeah, I understand. Well, thank you for coming forward, and we do understand the issue. We're going to revisit that again, and then we'll get back in touch with you. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is our mayor's report. Just a few things to update the board on. We have our budget workshops this week, 10 o'clock Thursday and Friday. We'll do those the same format as we've done in previous years. You'll hear from all the department heads. Tomorrow, I will send you some information to prepare for that. Edie prepared a spreadsheet that just is easier than Munis to read. Like, it just goes down each department, shows what's in there, and then with some notes out to the right to show you what's changed from last year. I think you'll like that format better. It's much easier to read and keep up with. So that'll go to you tomorrow to prepare for Thursday. Wayfinding signs, we just put our first sign up on State Line at Northwest Drive. You'll start to see those. Y'all may remember that when we initially ordered them, the font was too small, so we had to redo them. And so it's a lot better now. So we have all those ready to go, and just waiting on the ground to soften up some. But we'll start putting those up. It's at 13 key locations, so you'll start to see those popping up pretty soon. Fire station number 5, not to get in a lot of detail. Y'all know we've had some issues with that station. The good news is the slab was finally poured last week, so we truly believe that things are going to start moving at much faster right now. Last thing, just to update everybody, the rental property ordinance that we've talked about, We have made some tweaks to that, and we have that prepared. I'll send that out to everybody so we can start talking about that again and making a decision, what we want to do there. The only thing I'll say about that is, like we've done in the past, when we've looked at a rental property ordinance, after you water it down based on the restrictions that federal and state laws have, it takes the bite out of it a little bit on what cities can do. But anyway, it is, we have an ordinance ready that is, in compliance with all federal and state laws, so we'll send it out to you, and then we need to make a decision one way or the other if we're going to do something about that, because we are receiving a lot of calls about it. And that's basically all I have. Anybody got any questions for me? Hearing none, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this date.
A second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our agenda is our city attorney's legal update.
Got a couple items tonight. First item is authorization for the city to participate in a participation agreement for the Indo opioid settlement. This was done with the state of Mississippi as part of the settlement process for the opioid litigation that the state and certain entities entered into. Previously, the board approved an MOU and a resolution for the last settlement, I think was with Johnson & Johnson, and this is just a separate settlement with Indo. And as part of it, the state of Mississippi will need to get execution agreements or participation agreements from all entities, and so they would need one from Southaven. As part of our participation, we'll receive $14,403.23. So authorization for the mayor to sign any and all documents as part of the participation agreement for that settlement with the state of Mississippi, or on behalf of the state of Mississippi and Indo opioid, or in Indo.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Next item is authorization for the city utility department via the clerk's office to return unused meters to Central Pipe, which are no longer needed, obviously, because the city is transferred to the AMR system. We're not having to surplus these; it's just a return for a full refund. So it's not done in accordance with 172525. It's just done as a return. We need to document that into our minutes for a full refund is what the return is for. So we'll receive about $8,000 for the full refund for those unused meters. So tonight's authorization for the clerk's office and utility department to do that, and as documented in our minutes for that return and receipt of funds from Central Pipe.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Next item is authorization for Chief Scallions to sign the clinical agreement with the DeSoto County Schools for the 2022-23 school year. It allowed the DeSoto County Schools allied health students to participate in clinicals with the Southaven Fire Department to get experience and, as part of their curriculum, and possibly be one of those things where they want to join EMTs eventually, maybe one day, but it provides that experience as part of the MOU and the agreement. So we'll need authorization for Chief Scallions to sign the MOU with the DeSoto County Schools for that participation, for that agreement, for the school to allow their students to participate in the program and for the Southaven Fire Department to host the program.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion?
Nick, are they covered by our insurance and that kind of stuff?
Well, they won't be. They'll actually be. I'm actually gonna have a waiver for them to sign when they do it. They will not be employees and/or contractors, so they will not be covered by anything. That'll be strictly on their own I guess their own coverage, but the city is not, it's just hosting the students, so it's not going to require us to indemnify them in any shape, manner, or form. So to answer your question, I don't think they'll be covered by our insurance, but we're not going to allow them because they won't be considered an employee or a contractor to us.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
And the last item I had was authorization for the mayor to sign task order number 21 with Urban Arc. Task order is for 6% of the $1.3 million budget, which was for the city parks and refurbishing of Snowden Grove. That's included in the parks enhancement plan. The Urban Arcs contract that we have allows for 6% of that budget, which would be $78,000 to oversee and to help and plan and to work with Wes and the Parks Department as part of the work needed and oversight and bidding needed for the Parks Enhancement Plan, which included those items that were previously mentioned. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but that's it's done in accordance with our master agreement as well, with Urban Arcs master agreement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is our utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill leak adjustment docket as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda are 2 claims dockets. Is there a motion to approve docket 1?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 1 in the amount of $5,703,984.64, including demand checks.
Second.
We have a motion on docket 1 by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $17,478.82.
I'll second.
On docket 2, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Jerome. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Jerome.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Kelly. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is litigation involving the Southaven Police Department and the city in general, economic development within the city, and just personnel in general in the city without action. Is there a motion to declare executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Jerome. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Mayor and board will now enter executive session.